Hello, my ladies and pretty gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Look What's Happening in the Spirit Realm with yours truly, Light. Today, I have a message for you from the Spirit Realm. Neutrality, but there have been a silent observer, a silent weapon that's been, I want to say, angling itself towards you, but never really coming close enough to truly make a difference in your life. These are people who, for the longest time, have seen what truly makes you powerful, what makes you quote unquote special, what makes you perhaps even unable to fit into the society or the desire that you have not to in general. These are people who have invested their time and effort into you so that they can have you close enough, almost like a experiment, something to speculate, a marvel of a sort, a phenomena, something that they've stumbled upon in the woods, and they want to poke it around, so they take it home. They invest in you. This video, as you can see by the title, the dynamic, this important dynamic, which I feel like goes unnoticed, and that is where the most impact resides, is the dynamic between the narcissist and the so-called neurodivergent people. And I keep swaying back and forth because it's a place where people don't really go because they can't outwardly perceive or outwardly relate with these people. So whatever they say, these neurodivergents, it goes through the filtration process of what the narcissist has already implanted in these people's minds. Because the narcissist is more aware of the societal norms, how you should portray yourself in order to be received in a way that will be beneficial for you. They don't really think about originality because even though they share a very similar resonance with neurodivergence, and this is why they can spot them more often than neurotypical people can. This is why they almost prey on you if you are a neurodivergent, because they know that there is a flaw in your understanding when it comes to how people perceive your expressions. You might think that you are giving off a vibe that you care about someone, that you're trustworthy, that you mean what you say, but everything that you say goes through the filtration process of certain programmings that are at play in society, and people truly have bought into that to the extent where they would place their judgment based off of it. So narcissists use this gap in society where neurodivergents are completely clueless, even though they are what someone on TikTok beautifully put, antennas for your emotions, meaning having intuitive empathy or emotional empathy, whereas narcissists have cognitive empathy. So they can make you believe that they're experiencing what you're feeling if they want to. Just as easily, however, they can take that and completely be a cold wall where you feel as though you've been sucked into the abyss and every part of you is completely just laid bare and brutalized by a silent weapon. And this is what happens with neurodivergence. And I'm mentioning this and I'm making it so important because people don't relate to them. So whatever they say goes through the process of, this person is just a bit theatrical. This person is just a bit overwhelmed. And if there was a label to it, I mean, you can't even consider it being better than not having a label to it. But I'm going to point you to this main kind of the meat and potatoes, so to speak, of this video. One thing that narcissists really do hit that nail on the head on is the fact that there's a lot of wisdom to be gained from these so-called neurodivergents. There's a lot of wisdom to be gained, even though they might use it for their own benefit. They might use it for nefarious means. And they do. They have the liberty, and they go unnoticed. It's too tempting. It's too tempting to deny. So these wisdoms, these knowledge that they carry, I feel like people usually push it away because you're not representing as something that they can relate to, as like a person that they've seen on the news station or on TV, or you're not really representing these emotions that they're told to look out for that are trustworthy. And so you are usually calculating your thoughts, overthinking, and you can't get your thoughts together to act authentically enough. And when you do act authentically, people are more often than not repelled by that. So you are in a dilemma. What do? You isolate, usually. This is what happens to a lot of neurodivergent people, isolation. And feeling as though, oh, nobody will ever understand. This dilemma. So this is where narcissists come in, because they truly do know why you aren't able to fit into society, because they do mimic society, but for completely different reasons. It's because they cannot empathize with anyone except for themselves. I mean, psychopaths have the same dilemma, except they are complete masters at masking, because they don't have emotions that would otherwise impede them. Like fear, for instance, it's quite low. So when you see this is why people who are neurodivergent are preyed on by these people, because they see them as an infinite resource, because these people absorb your emotions, everything that you feel. They're like a sponge. But when it comes to expressing it, usually people will relate to them when they express it through artistic means, like poetry, like myself, or painting, like some of you, I've seen your paintings, like writing, like in many different, singing, music, dancing, in whatever fashion that you do, even if it's science, your ability to just question philosophy, all of these things, this deep dive that you take into that. This is the element, this authentic investigation of life that narcissists do not have. So they do have a lot of time to mimic because of that. And this is exactly why they come after neurodivergent people, because they hate that. Like, how do you possess authenticity? Because they have such a deep insecurity. Unlike psychopaths, right? They have a deep, deep insecurity about who they are. But when they see someone who's just themselves, and that's their ailment in society, is to just be themselves, they can't help but hate them, but want to investigate them at the same time. So this relationship is very private, because people don't relate with the neurodivergent, and they buy into the story that the narcissist gives because they are more believable. They know the social cue, they know the hierarchy, they know how society truly operates, what buttons to press to make people feel like they are safe, or that they are not cared for, that they are in possession of power, more power than them. They know how to create these feelings. They're illusions, but they do. They're masters of illusion. They have to survive in whatever capacity, because it is only the self. And the one thing to wrap up this video with, I know you guys said you could hear me talk for hours, but I can't. I can't hear me talk for hours. But to wrap this up, the one thing that makes these two people very connected is the fact that they share this room in their mind. It's two opposite. I call it the upside down realm, where it's like as above, so below. And whereas the neurodivergent person is so enthralled and so sensitive to everything around them, and so they have a world inside them that's even more sensitive, so bright and so extreme in its own way that it can be intense to even express it, so they get overwhelmed. Versus the narcissist has the same place, but it's the complete opposite. It's this dark, empty place, this abyss of a sort, where there needs to be more. There needs to be more. And there's this pursuing energy of self that chases after you in that realm. You can't quite give it up. It's a soothing place, a comforting place to be in. So that's where they are, in the spirit realm. I'm your spirit realm reporter. So always take my messages, some metaphorically, some literally. But when I sway and point my finger and squint at you, it's to illuminate that realm that I'm trying to push into through this screen. And I hope it resonated. Let me know. As usual, I don't reach out to you for readings. Please don't get scammed. And I wish you a lovely Saturday. Bye.